how have times changed at the club from then till now then?
Devastating.
I've already basically filmed the entirety of this video. I just wanted to at least film it and speak to the people there before I knew what I wanted to say in this intro. Please say hello to my companion for the day. She'll be very upset if you don't subscribe. Yeah, the team that we're seeing today, they have a pretty depressing backstory. Sorry for my language, don't tell your mum. I've visited hundreds of non-league football clubs and lower league football clubs all around the country. Too many to even be able to pinpoint an exact number, but yeah, well into the hundreds. And I know how much a home ground means to these clubs and how much it means to their identities and how they move forward as a club in this modern age. But the football team we're seeing today have not got a home ground, and they haven't had one for 10 years now. 10 years. They had a classic old stadium and it looked amazing. Look at some of these pictures. Look how unreal that looks. I mean, even like the abandoned one, I guess that was like just before they were about to sell it. I bet they like didn't cut the grass or anything before it got sold for housing development. They were told that within a year of selling that stadium, they would be back in a new ground in Kirkintilloch, where they're from. Kirkintilloch Rob Roy, a current West of Scotland League Premier Division team, the 6th tier of Scotland. It's been 10 years since they sold that ground now. Yeah, so when I was looking at the fixtures and I saw that they were playing at home, obviously they don't really have a home, I thought I'd go and check out their backstory, speak to the people there, and as you will see throughout the video, I learnt as I was going along from people on and off camera about sort of what has happened in the last 10 years, what they think is going to happen moving forward, and I'll pick up the story with you a couple of days ago when I was in Kirkintilloch at where their old ground used to be. Here we go, this is where the old ground used to be, and it was called Adamsley Park. And look, as you can see now, it's a new housing estate with some nice new builds, to be fair. There's some older houses across the street over there, look, as you can see. Kelvin Drive, Kelvin Way. But then look, you can tell that these houses are a lot newer, and I want to see a street sign because there is something football related to these street names. I wonder if, I guess there's a lot of football fans that live around here, Celtic fans, Rangers fans. I wonder how many of them are aware that this is where the old football stadium used to be. And it's a pretty big town, and for there not to be an actual stadium here, they play at a town like the road, Cumbernauld, which is where we'll be going to tonight's game. For there not to be a stadium in this town, it's kind of mad. Is it the biggest town in Scotland without a stadium? Is there one for like a even smaller team than Kirkintilloch Rob Roy? Don't know. I've just done a loop of the whole area and there's not one like street sign saying the name of the streets. The name of the streets is like just on all the houses with the numbers of the house. And I don't really just want to go poking my GoPro around all the houses. But look, as you can see there, we are next to Rob Roy Place and Rob Roy Gardens, both named after the football team. I'm pretty sure I've only ever seen this stadium from the outside once before, and that was for my Kenny Dalglish video. Is there even anything on this? There's nothing even on here. I think Cumbernauld United, Kenny Dalglish used to play here. This was proper COVID times that I made that video, and I can't remember too much about Cumbernauld United, the actual home team that play here. I just know that Kirkintilloch Rob Roy now use this as their home and have done for I think around 10 years now.
I'm Danny Ferry, the current manager at Kirkintilloch Rob Roy.
So you're a club from Kirkintilloch, obviously, the name of the club, Kirkintilloch Rob Roy, but you play in Cumbernauld?
Playing in Cumbernauld, so the club basically sold the ground quite a few years back, so it's been an ongoing saga. That's nearly 10 years now the club's been away from Kirkintilloch. On that side of it, I don't have much information and much that we can say. There's a stadium there that I hope to move back into, which will make a difference for the club, get everybody back towards Kirkintilloch where they want to be playing, but 10 years is a long time.
It is a long time without a stadium, yeah. Is that, I know Clyde have been, obviously they've moved, they had Broadwood for a long time.
A few teams, and it becomes...
But I suppose, is this the longest team in Scotland without a home?
I would have thought so.
There's probably one or two out there, but this has got to be up there.
This has got to be up there, definitely. I know some clubs ground share and stuff like that, but from our point of view, it's been a long time.
And how's life here? It's a beautiful setting, actually.
It's great.
On a nice sunny day.
They're great. Cumbernauld, you can't ask for any better. George, who looks after us, who's the owner of Cumbernauld, he's been brilliant. And so we train up here if we're ever struggling for training facilities.
Is that the little pitch just there? Okay, cool.
Pitches down the bottom as
right,
well.
okay,
So
yeah.
George has been brilliant that way. So, and obviously the hospitality gives us great. So we can't grumble with it. They've done
So
this.
does the club have to pay Cumbernauld United to use the ground then?
Pay the ground.
So I guess it would benefit the club to actually have a stadium of your own that you can make revenue from.
That's the problem for the moment for the club. It's trying to bring in revenue, because like sponsorship, we can't have sponsorship because we don't have a stadium. We can't have the banners around the side.
Exactly.
It's a huge knock-on effect. So
what about like the bar and stuff? On match days, do you make money from that?
As well,
Okay.
So they've got the food sales.
So does it open on match days when you play here?
Match days, yeah, it opens on match days and they do hospitality. So basically, the club's run by the chairman Neil Anderson. So Neil does everything. It's it's a one-man band. He's got committee members, but Neil does everything. That's where.
Yeah, and I can see on the badge there as well, 1878. I think that says. So it's an old club, and
it's an old club.
I feel like it deserves a.
It does. It deserves. They've been fighting for a long time, and to say we don't know really what the issues are and what's happening with it. So it's been that long. It's been 5-6 years I've been told we're moving into the stadium, but hopefully sometime soon it will.
These things take a long time, don't they? So there's not a huge amount in the stadium that is Rob Roy related. There was like one little sign on the way in, but it's all very much Cumbernauld United. But I've spotted something that is Rob Roy related, and it is the Roy Boys, formed in 2022. Can't Stop Ultras. I wonder if they'll be here tonight. As I was checking out the stadium, it got me thinking about the name of the club and who was Rob Roy? Robert Roy McGregor, born in March of 1671 and died in 1734, was a Scottish outlaw who has become a legend and a folk hero. He was a cattleman who had feuds with dukes over land and cattle. He was also a part of the Jacobite Rising of 1715. If you've ever seen Outlander, you'll know a little bit about the Jacobites and the Redcoats. You can have a bit more of a deeper look into Rob Roy McGregor in your spare time, but essentially, yeah, he's an old legend of Scotland who most people up here will know of. He's left a great legacy. There was a film in his name, and Liam Neeson even played him in said film. The Rob Roy Way is a long-distance footpath in and around where he grew up. Early settlers of New Zealand named Roy's Peak and Rob Roy Glacier in honour of the man himself, and of course, the 1878 football club of Kirkintilloch Rob Roy, was founded and named in his memory. Do you remember the old Kirkintilloch ground?
Yeah.
What was that like then?
It was good. It was really good. The park, the actual park, was built on a sand quarry. So if it rained, hardly ever flooded.
And how have times changed at the club from then till now then?
It's devastating. We were asked to leave Adamsley about 10 years ago on the basis that the park would be ready in a year's time. There's actually a brand new stadium built.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
And it's been up and ready for the last 6 to 9 months.
Well, a few Kirky fans turning up, to be fair. Kirkintilloch fan?
Yeah, of course.
Did you come from Kirkintilloch?
Yes, I did. I live in Dundee.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So how come you're a Kirky fan then? Did you grow up there?
I grew up there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I grew up and we used to go to Adamsley Park every week. And have you seen the situation on the table? We look like relegation fodder. We need to run. I made a miracle.
Yeah, okay. Jim, we're about to kick off here. You've been a Kirkintilloch Rob Roy supporter for a while.
Decades,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
And so how have things changed for the club since moving from their old stadium to here?
Just trying to get into the new ground, that would help greatly, I think. But we've punched above our weight. We've stayed in the top tier for about 10 seasons. We're down one, straight back up.
And the league table currently, you're in the bottom three, aren't you? And three go down.
Bottom, three go down, but still games to play.
Games in hand, still a lot to play for.
Yeah.
And there is a new stadium built, right, in Kirkintilloch, but you've not moved in yet.
Still wrangling's going on.
These things are controversial. They take time, I'm sure. But what's the issues behind it? Or why haven't they moved in? Council, you say, like, what is it? Do we know?
There's a whole host of issues, but involving council and deal to go into it. So.
And how would that help the club then moving forward to leave Cumbernauld and actually move back to where you're from?
We're tenants here for 10 years, you know. So Paul. So.
You'd be a lot of youngsters. Get a lot of youngsters involved in all that, and they'll get all community stuff for that at the ground as well. obviously they've got all the advertisement, local advertisement around the ground and things like this, you know, and get everybody, all the local people involved. I mean, coming to Cumbernauld every week for a home game or that, you know, you can see there's no really...
Yeah, of course. I mean, fair play to the people that have come out, but I suppose some might be friends and family of the players and stuff like that as well. But I can understand where you guys come. You've been fans for years, but like you say, getting those young fans to come, they're not going to travel from Kirky down to Cumbernauld, are they?
And we've lost a lot of the older fans. You need 3 or 4 buses to get here, where it was on their doorstep before, you know. So. But
anyway, so with the last few games remaining then, and with relegation on the line, get everyone down here. Is that the message?
Exactly.
Like anyone who's got a spare Saturday, get down.
You get behind the team.
Amazing.
Because we've got a lot of home games now, because obviously we share the ground with Cumbernauld United, whose ground it is.
It's a bit of a backlog.
And they've got priority. They get home, so we've got to play away.
Amazing. Okay, so everyone get down here, yeah? Nice one. Yeah, it's going to be a short video if the game continues like this, I think. Helford are in.
Here we go!
Oh, it's 1-0 Helford. He's happy with Jinky. The life of a Kirky fan, eh? There's a team training on that pitch. Maybe that's Cumbernauld United training on that pitch over there, as their tenants play a first team game here. But look, we have a coffee and we have a steak pie.
Chances this year, didn't they? Dave.
And are you a Kirkintilloch supporter?
Yes.
So how's life for you as a Kirky fan then?
Very difficult. I mean, they seem to raise their game on big days, and then especially at home. Although it's no home.
You say home, yeah, but it's obviously shared.
Yeah.
And it's half time just now. You're losing 1-0 against Helford. Is it looking likely it might go down this season, do you think?
At this moment in time, I've got to say yeah.
Okay.
I've got to say yeah.
But can you see a way that the club moves forward, get a new stadium? Like obviously the stadium's built, right?
It's ridiculous, the situation and everything. I'm not blaming the committee by any manner of means, but it's a council just absolutely.
These things are slow, and I don't know the ins and outs of it at all. But
the actual ins and outs. It should never have sold Adamsley in the first place. I'm not naming names, but it should never have sold Adamsley in the first place.
Okay.
I mean, iconic ground.
Looked amazing, to be fair. Yeah, the pictures.
It was. It's got to run a bus home and away every week.
Yeah. So you're just telling me. So you run the supporters buses
yes,
here?
For the Kirkintilloch Rob Roy. Yes,
but you don't just run supporters buses away.
Home as
you
well.
run them for home games too?
Yes, for every game, especially we try for the older chaps, the chaps that don't drive, like people of a certain age that have been supporting the Rob Roy all their life and remembering when we won the cup in 61, 62 and all that kind of stuff. And it's these kind of guys that don't drive, and like Cumbernauld Village, it's quite an awkward place to get to. If you understand, you know, it's not
right into the centre of Cumbernauld, is it?
Not like a town centre where all the buses go.
And so during the early stages of you putting on the bus, when you just moved here and the old ground had been getting knocked down and stuff, was there more interest in it then? Has it sort of waned over the years, or has it just gone on and on?
Certainly yes, because it's just of the generation of supporters that were at that time, and the guys are getting older, and obviously things that get happen.
That's a shame, isn't it?
Because there's 4 or 5 real stalwarts of the supporters club.
Just sounds like you need to get back there, and it'd get you more young fans as well, wouldn't it? If they could just walk down to the ground and go and watch you play rather than have to get on the bus, or
because it's just the whole kind of Cumbernauld, and we'd have to get back into Kirkintilloch as soon as possible.
There's Xander Murray on the ball. He's been on the channel once or twice before. Nice lad, was at Bonnyrigg last season, a big Garliff Heraldine Rovers legend. Oh, big chance for Helford there. Oh, if you can even see, that is. Lovely evening, so I'm not complaining, but you can barely see over there.
Yes, we'll get it in then.
Nothing has worked for Rob Roy today, sadly. Does Helford get on the break now? They could work this here. Good chance, good save. It's 2-0 Helford. Rob Roy, the homeless football club, facing relegation, are losing by 2 goals to 0. So That is at Adamsley, the old stadium,
Yes.
which is now housing estate, and that's Dalglish there
That's
scoring
Dalglish
for
scoring
Cumbernauld United against
Rob Roy.
Oh, that's quality. See, this is the stuff that, like, everyone knows Celtic and Rangers nowadays. The history that these clubs have that people just don't realise.
But as I say to you, I'm an anorak, mate.
So am I. Full time.
Hope you finish high up in the league, man. Hope we get to play you in future years at some point, because we've gone up, not because you've been doing.
I have brought you and my glamorous assistant to the exact spot where I began my homeless football club video that I filmed a good couple of years ago now about Clyde. I have revisited Clyde and sort of done an update on that story. But Clyde are a team that everybody knows about. That's the River Clyde right there, which is why I started there. They're a team that everybody knows about. They're a team that everyone sort of knows the backstory about the stadium and sort of how it's affected them and how it could affect them moving forward. They're having a terrible season and could easily get relegated this year. I mean, just look what not having a stadium can do. Maybe there's other factors as well, but without that identity, without that place you can call home, without being able to make revenue from your stadium, it leaves you in a really precarious position. And whilst everybody, like I say, knows about Clyde, not many people know about the plight of Kirkintilloch Rob Roy. So I suppose that, what would I want to say in this outro? Kirkintilloch are a big club, don't get that wrong. I know that their current landlords have had Kenny Dalglish play for them, but maybe even more amazingly, Kirkintilloch Rob Roy created the player who scored the goal that brought the European Cup to Britain for the first time. Stevie Chalmers, who scored the winner for Celtic in Lisbon to create the legendary Lisbon Lions. He started his career at Kirkintilloch Rob Roy, who now don't have a home, who look like they're going to get relegated from the 6th tier, and who, let's be honest, like, where are they going to go as a club without their own stadium and their own home? If, like, the clubs that are sort of newer today, I'm sure you can think of a few, they have to ground share, you know, they don't really have too much of an identity, and they struggle to get fans. And that's what you worry about Kirkintilloch. They've been away for 10 years now, and yeah, well, they've kept a bit of a core of like some of the older guys. They're not going to get new fans going, and all the little ultra groups that you see popping around all around the country, you're just not going to see that with Kirkintilloch. And that's the future of the football club. I don't know the ins and outs of the stadium situation. Do the council have something to answer for? Probably. Do the club? Probably. Is it something where they both could have worked together? I don't know. Again, I don't like to speak on these things too much, having not known the details, but I mean, Kirkintilloch, they would have sold that old ground. I don't know what they would have sold it for. Again, I don't like to make assumptions, but if that money's been sat in a bank account for 10 years, that would have lost a lot of value. Particularly in the last few anyway. If you'd have had £1,000 for argument's sake just 5 years ago in your bank, what would that be worth now with the amount of inflation that's gone on the last few years? So has there been a bit of mismanagement from the club in that perspective? Maybe. Has there been some mismanagement from the council? I don't know, probably. There's a new stadium built in Kirkintilloch by all accounts, and from what I can work out from chatting to people, there's only ever been one game there, and it was Rossvale against Darvel, I think. What's going on with that place? What's going on with Kirkintilloch, and what's going on with you? We need to go, don't we, because you are getting bored. But yeah, huge thank you for watching. I do feel really sorry for Kirky as a club. If you have any information on the club and what's happened to the stadium, then please let me know in the comment section below. It's quite hard to find this stuff out. It's quite hard to find info about Clyde out, and they're a big side, let alone sort of what's happening with Kirky and the council there. But yeah, it's a sad story, and one that maybe I'll have to do an update on at some point soon. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Should we go?